October 28th, 2020. It's another vision from the Lord. I was sitting here at my desk doing my Bible study, and I just felt like, the Lord was reminding me that the promises that He has made with His servant, they will be established forever. And I just kept repeating that over and over, like, yes, Lord, I pray that your promises would come to pass and that you wouldn't forget me, and that you have not left me. You have not left those promises behind. And, I just kept I closed my eyes and kept repeating it over and over, just calling out to Jesus, that, that His promises to me will come to pass for the glory of His name. And I just kept thanking Him and thanking Him and thanking Him. Then I felt this familiar presence near me, and with my eyes closed, I could see someone appear to the side of me. And I didn't see their face at first, but I could feel His kind hands on the side of my face as He drew my face to look towards Him. In the physical world, I moved my head to look, but it wasn't forceful or mean. It was just a loving gesture. And then I saw Him. I recognized Him as Jesus, and Jesus was standing right in front of me. He reached out His hands and grabbed my hands and pulled me up out of my chair. And this is where I believe I went into the spiritual realm with Him. And once I recognized Him and it truly registered who He was and that He was Jesus, I literally just jumped into His arms and just gave Him a big, huge hug and held on until my muscles had weakened and I couldn't even hold on any longer. I told Him how much I've missed Him and how it's so good to see Him, and it's felt like forever, and I've just been really desperately needing a word from Him, just needing to feel Him, and I began to feel better, and eventually, He kind of set me back down on the ground where my feet were, and I began to wonder, where were we, and why had He come at this time? And He began speaking to me that my time for kingdom marriage is near. And this is a thought that has been developing for a long time in my heart of what is kingdom marriage? What does that look like? What does that consist of? And God has just continued to really speak to me and give me a lot of insight and a lot of clarity. And so this is just one of those visions that I guess that I wanted to share with. And so He smiled back at me and asked me to follow Him. And so I took note of what He was wearing. He wasn't in fancy clothes. He was in a long robe with a belt, leather sandals on. He had long brown wavy curly hair. And then He gracefully made led me over to this ladder that appeared in front of us. And we were in a room that looked like it had kind of a wall around us, but it was all white and it was really bright. But it was a soft white, not a really hospital-y kind of white. And I looked around and saw that there was another level above us, and that the ladder was there to help us, kind of get up to that next level. And so it looked like we were on clouds or this big fluffy air. And then so I watched Jesus begin to climb up this ladder, and I grasped the ladder and started up it as well, and I would just go one hand over the other the whole time, just focused on His feet that were just right above me, just following His feet. That's all I needed, was to follow His feet. And it didn't seem like we had gone up very far before Jesus had turned around and offered me my hand and helped me up on the last step. And He pulled me up in it, and we were standing on another level of clouds that I could only describe it as. And I felt like we were really, really high above something, but I couldn't see anything below me. It was just a cloud. But I wasn't scared or afraid. I just knew that there was something below me. And so I turned and I looked at Jesus and asked Him, "What are we doing up here?" And He said, "I wanted to show you your kingdom." And as He said that, the layer of clouds beneath our feet just blew away. And it revealed this great valley below us. It was a magnificent valley. It was full of green grass and trees, but what I noticed is it looked really empty. For how big it was, there was just nothing going on. And so I'm well, for a kingdom, it seems like there's no people in it. And He said, "This is yours. This is what you're building right now." And slowly people began to appear beneath me, but they were so small that I couldn't really make them out. And so as I'm thinking about it, He's kind of zoomed me in, and I could see people of all different ages and genders and ethnicities, and they were all standing in rows before me, and they all had on metal armor and breastplates and helmets and war paint, and they had swords, and spears in their hands like they were ready for battle. And so I turned and I looked at Jesus. I'm like, what are they getting ready for? What are they about to fight for? Like, and he said, marriage. They are the army of my marriage fighters. And then this word fell into my spirit. You are leading a fight. You are fighting for my marriage, and this is your kingdom. I have taken you from the pastures and from following the flock to be the ruler over my people. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and I have cut off all of your enemies from before you. Now I will make your name like the names of the greatest men of the earth. This is your army that you are rising up. But God, how can I lead an army about marriage when I'm not even married? I'm not even married. I'm not even in a committed relationship. Like, I don't see how this would be helpful at all. And he said, well, I will show you. I will lead you. That's when I fell to my knees in the physical world, and just gave him all of me. God, I'm yours. And then he like took me back to this vision, and I could see like this eagle that was just kind of flying in and out of all of this army of people. And I just felt like Jesus was saying, it is time, it is time, it is time. Now go tell my people what I have shown you. And his thought just stuck in my mind that they will need someone to help lead them during this time, because the enemy is trying to come and take out these marriages before they even happen. And then we must come together as one family because we are stronger together. And then we went back down the ladder. Jesus went first. He kind of helped me get down to the bottom of the ladder, and I jumped off, and he kind of caught me and set me down, and then like I was back in the real world. And so this is definitely one of those words or those visions where I kept it to myself, because I really don't know what it means. I don't know what, like, I feel so underqualified for it, because like I said, like, I'm not married. I'm not even in a committed relationship. And the Lord has had to do a lot of working in my heart for me to even think about marriage again. So I feel like it's also him reminding me that I think that there are other people out there that feel like me, and I guess I just want them to know that you're not alone, and that if God is rising it up within you, like if you can feel it rising up within you, even though you don't feel qualified, even though you don't know how or what it's gonna look like or how you're gonna do it, and it's just really confusing, I feel like there's this level of, you know, just being transparent so that like all of you guys understand that I'm feeling the exact same way, and I have kept this for almost 2 years to myself, and it's not going to do anyone else any good if I just keep it to myself. You know, maybe this is a word that someone else needs to hear, to understand that like you are fighting for your marriage, you are fighting for God's kingdom marriages, and like you're not alone. There are a lot of us that are in this process, and we don't know what we're doing. We're just following Jesus, and like, you know, kind of like climbing that ladder, like, okay, Lord, like I'm just gonna follow you, and I don't really know what this looks like, and I really have no idea how this is gonna happen, but I'm gonna follow you, and it's, you know, trusting that you've got it all figured out. So yeah, I guess like I wanted to be able to share that with you guys, so that you know that you're not alone. You're not the only one that is feeling how you're feeling. If you're, you know, feeling called to marriage and are scared of it, or, you know, just don't understand it, and that God is raising up an army, and we are stronger together, and the enemy would love nothing more than to separate us and divide us and make us feel that we are alone, and that we should be, you know, feeling shameful or guilty for not knowing what we're doing, when really our strength comes from our unity and our trust and our faith in the Lord to provide exactly what we need. So yeah, I guess that's another vision.